Is your night guard made out of toxic plastic? Maybe. I'm going to review some of the studies that I found, custom night guard trays, as well as ones that you can get in your local Walmart. And then I'm also going to review how you might not even need a mouth guard to begin with. Most night guards for teeth grinding or bruxism, which is what it's officially called, are made from either hard or soft plastic. Soft night guards are typically made with EVA plastic. You can actually get online from one of those digital brands or an in-office visit with your dentist. Now, one of them showed severe reproductive toxicity was induced by in vitro exposure to these 3D printed resins. So the problem with this is they had certifications that all of their materials were biocompatible, meaning that they were completely safe. But that is not the case because they weren't actually tested for safety prior to them being used. And this is the problem. Most medical devices, of which this retainer this is technically a medical device, most medical devices were actually approved for use by the FDA through a loophole called the predicate device loophole. These researchers found that over 90% of medical devices were approved using this predicate device loophole, basically saying our product should be approved without toxicity testing because it is significantly equivalent to another that is already proven to be safe and on the market for sale. The problem is that that other device that they said they're similarly equivalent to was also approved using this loophole, didn't get approved with clinical testing. Only 11% of all medical devices on the market today had any clinical testing. There was not a lot of information on the cytotoxicity of the 3D printed products. They're getting approved saying that they're substantially equivalent, but they're not that equivalent because they're using new technology. There was another study that showed various bisphenols too. The amount of BPA released in vitro was very low. However, when they did randomized control clinical trials, the release of BPA was much higher. BPA is linked to breast cancer, testicular cancer, diabetes, obesity, overall unaliving. There was lots of other adverse effects linked to using transparent retainers, periodontal problems, even systemic problems such as difficulty breathing. Most of these hard plastic retainers, they're literally made with the exact same acrylic material as acrylic nails. And I mean literally, because the company that makes the leading prescription mouthguard also holds the patents for UV curing material for acrylic nails. Here it is. Like literally it's the same company that makes the material for your acrylic nails that also does your mouthguard. Those are the ones that you would get from your dentist, right? From an in-office visit or online. However, there's a lot that you can get that aren't custom fit to your mouth. Now, this one study looked at this recently. They went to 2 different Walmart locations in Southern California. They got dental whitening trays and they got night guards to prevent teeth grinding. And they found PFAS. They looked for 24 different PFAS and they found PFOS, which is one that has already been phased out by the Stockholm Convention because it's super toxic. There were no PFAS found in the whitening trays. The researchers in this study did not disclose which brands that they bought. However, I did some digging. There's not a lot of brands out there on the market. I'm guessing that these were the brands that they tested. In all, you might not even need a mouthguard to begin with. And bruxism, teeth grinding, often happens unconsciously during sleep, causing tooth wear and various symptoms like ear discomfort and neck pain. Night guards, they're typically recommended, but studies show that they might not always be effective, and sometimes they exacerbate and worsen the problem. Many experts actually argue that bruxism is a behavior rather than a disorder, and it's influenced by factors like stress, posture, and sleep quality. Improving sleep hygiene and having a correct posture during the day rather than solely relying on night guards to fix the issue. Awareness of mouth and tongue position during the day and using firm pillows at night can actually help prevent teeth grinding.